America's force of choice for decisive action. America's Armored Corps. 3 Corps has a strength of over 100,000 soldiers and includes 4 of the Army's major combat divisions and numerous supporting units spread across the western United States. 1st Infantry Division, Fort Riley, Kansas. The Big Red One. Brave, responsible, on point for our nation. 4th Infantry Division, Fort Carson, Colorado. The Ivy Division, steadfast and loyal. 1st Armored Division, Fort Bliss, Texas. The Old Ironsides, the only armored division in the United States Army. 1st Cavalry Division, Fort Hood, Texas. 1st Team, lethal, flexible, agile. The 13th Sustainment Command, expeditionary, also at Fort Hood, Texas. The Lucky 13th, excelling in service to the soldier. We are America's Armored Corps. Known as the Phantom Corps, 3 Corps also includes the 75th Field Artillery Brigade, Fort Sill, Oklahoma, and 12 separate brigades. In addition to 3 Corps units, Fort Hood is also home to the Operational Test Command, 1st Army Division West, and numerous organizations that directly support Fort Hood and 3 Corps units, such as the U.S. Army Garrison, Carl R. Darnell Army Medical Center, the 407th Army Field Support Brigade, the 418th Contracting Support Brigade, the 11th MP Battalion CID, and the 15th Military Intelligence Battalion, all supporting our mission. 3 Corps is ready for joint and combined operations, based at premier military installations across the U.S., focused on preparing warriors and units for decisive action. We fight and win our nation's wars. We are a trained and ready expeditionary corps that is fully capable of defeating any threat on the 21st century battlefield. 3 Corps' history dates from 1918, when the Corps served in World War I, winning battle streamers for the Aisne Marne, Lorraine, and Meuse-Argonne campaigns. Inactivated in 1919, the Corps was reactivated in 1940 to train combat divisions. During World War II, the Corps was deployed to the European theater of operations and earned the name Phantom Corps by hitting the enemy when least expected. The Army approved the Caltrop as a shoulder patch for 3 Corps January 30th, 1919. A caltrop is an obstacle in military warfare that hindered the movement of horses, vehicles, and soldiers on foot. It consists of a 4-pronged piece of iron, or concrete, in a cluster of devastating points. No matter how it was dropped, the caltrop would always land with 1 point upward, and from the side you could always see 3 points. Over 70 years ago, the Army transformed 108,000 acres of central Texas from rural farming land into Camp Hood, home of the Tank Destroyer Tactical and Firing Center. In 1940, the U.S. was unprepared for the war in Europe. Hitler's Wehrmacht and his armored forces were unrivaled at the time. The U.S. selected Lieutenant Colonel Andrew Bruce to develop tactics to counter the German Blitzkrieg. Lieutenant Colonel Bruce and his staff created the idea of tank destroyers, mobile anti-tank guns on armored half-tracks. The Army decided to create a tank destroyer center to refine these tactics. Just 2 weeks after the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor and the United States entered World War II, Lieutenant Colonel Bruce toured the Killeen area and decided that this was the place. Bruce recommended that the new post be named Camp Hood, after Texas Civil War General John Bell Hood. On September 18, 1942, the Camp Hood Tank Destroyer Center opened and refined tank destroyer tactics throughout World War II. Camp Hood was officially renamed Fort Hood on April 15, 1950. Just 4 years later, 3 Corps moved to Fort Hood, and Major General Hobart R. Gay assumed command of 3 Corps in Fort Hood. The post was now the largest and only 2-division post, with the 1st and 4th Armored Divisions. Since the early 1940s to the present, Fort Hood has changed many lives, inspired America's best soldiers, and created lasting memories for all who have passed through its gates. Today, Fort Hood is home to over 20 major commands and is the largest active-duty armored post in the United States. It covers 342 square miles of hill and lake country in central Texas. There is a military population of more than 40,000 and a supported population of nearly 400,000, including family members and retirees. Fort Hood is comprised of 342 square miles of living and training space. It has 87 live fire ranges, 72 motor pools with 7.2 miles of combat power. There's 4 airfields and 2 UAV airfields. Fort Hood is home to more than 260 Abrams main battle tanks, with over 30 military missile launchers, more than 450 Bradley fighting vehicles, more than 70 Patriot missile launchers, over 325 Strykers, and more than 170 helicopters of various types. With approximately 20,000 soldiers, the 1st Cavalry Division is the largest 3-Corps unit on Fort Hood. It is the most heavily armored division in today's Army. 1st Cav is organized into 3 Armored Brigade combat teams. It is supported by an Air Cavalry Brigade and a Division Artillery Brigade. Unlike modern divisions, the 1st Cavalry also boasts a Horse Cavalry detachment. The 3rd Cavalry Regiment, known as the Brave Rifles, is a Stryker Infantry Brigade combat team. The 3rd Cavalry was formed in 1846 as the Regiment of Mounted Rifles, and in its current configuration, it keeps the heritage of the Army's longest continuously serving cavalry regiment alive. 1st Army Division West's primary mission is the training of Army Reserve and National Guard service members. North Fort Hood is a strategic platform for training, deploying, and redeploying the Army's citizen soldiers. The 13th Sustainment Command Expeditionary provides combat support and combat service support to units of 3 Corps in the area of supply, maintenance, movement control, field services, medical, and general engineering and construction. The United States Air Force's 3rd Air Support Operations Group is comprised of 6 squadrons and nearly 500 airmen. Stationed here and at all of 3 Corps locations, they support the Corps and other divisions. Their mission is to integrate aerospace power with the Army's fire and maneuver on the battlefield. The group advises Army commanders on Air Force air and space power employment. It provides tactical air control parties for Air Force close air support assets, and also provides staff weather support to the Corps. Fort Hood is also home to one of the Army's air assault schools. The school's primary task is to qualify soldiers on air assault involving helicopters. Trainees are pushed to their maximum potential, both physically and mentally. The Air Assault School provides a unique training opportunity for soldiers of all specialties. Combat readiness is the #1 priority in 3 Corps in Fort Hood. Fort Hood provides excellent training opportunities for soldiers, leaders, and units. The size and quality of the training areas allow units to conduct large-scale maneuver operations and synchronize all the warfighting functions. 87 live-fire training ranges provide soldiers and vehicle crews the ability to reinforce marksmanship and gunnery skills. 2 mock villages provide the opportunity to hone urban warfare tactics. 3 Corps units also frequently get the opportunity to demonstrate their skills at the Army's premier training centers, located at Fort Irwin, California, and the Joint Readiness Training Center at Fort Polk, Louisiana. Higher echelon units can conduct multiple command post exercises at Fort Hood and distribute lessons learned throughout the Army to validate mission command proficiency. Fort Hood develops the next generation of Army leaders by providing tough, realistic training coupled with rigid discipline and exacting standards. Sponsorship and mentorship of our future leaders trains them in the right way to do business. 3 Corps and Fort Hood Non-Commissioned Officer Academy provides the opportunity for junior soldiers to continue their formal military education and for mid-level soldiers to become certified Army instructors. The quality of life of 3 Corps and Fort Hood soldiers and families will always remain a priority, ensuring our soldiers, civilians, and families have an outstanding place to work and call home is the focus of Fort Hood Garrison. Fort Hood Family Housing provides more than just a place to live. It provides a high quality of life for soldiers and their families. There are more than 5,800 family quarters in 13 separate housing areas with a wide array of 2 to 5 bedroom homes for lease. For single soldiers, Fort Hood is committed to providing well-maintained, safe, and clean housing. Fort Hood has 99 new or renovated barracks with more than 10,800 rooms. There are different style rooms available, with each room having a twin-size bed, a computer desk and chair, a chest of drawers, and a kitchen area. Soldiers and family members have incredible education opportunities available on post and in the surrounding area. For younger family members, there are 9 on-post schools in the Killeen Independent School District for pre-kindergarten through grade 8. Fort Hood also supports the local school districts through its Adopt a School program, which contributes military resources and services to partnered community schools in order to nurture the growth of children. Continuing education opportunities also exist for the soldiers and older family members. Local colleges and universities include Central Texas College and Texas A&M University, both located on Fort Hood, and the University of Mary Hardin Baylor in nearby Belton, all offering numerous undergraduate and graduate degree programs. Family, Morale, Welfare, and Recreation provides the greater Fort Hood community first-rate, affordable quality of life programs and services. The Belton Lake Outdoor Recreation Area provides fantastic opportunities for Fort Hood families, offering everything from swimming, fishing, and boating to hiking, mountain biking, and horseback riding. Fort Hood has 9 physical fitness centers, an indoor pool at Abrams Gym, and several outdoor pools. Fort Hood also hosts a unique resiliency campus and soldier and family fit facility. Fort Hood has a diverse population with diverse spiritual needs. These needs are reflected in the wide variety of religious services offered to the community. The Spirit of Fort Hood Chapel Complex serves as a central location for the installation's 13 chapels. Covering more than 100,000 square feet, it is the largest spiritual center in the Army. The new Fort Hood Exchange is a 265,000 square foot mall and is one of the 5 largest and most modern Army and Air Force exchanges. New state-of-the-art amenities include a pharmacy, optical center, dental office, more stores and more dining options in an expanded food court, with the goal of giving customers a first-rate shopping experience. The new Carl R. Darnell Army Medical Center opened in April of 2016. The new hospital features a 947,000 square foot medical facility that is nearly 60% larger than the previous medical center. The new 6-story hospital features 3 outpatient clinic buildings and 3 parking garages. It brings Fort Hood one step closer to providing increased access and more healthcare services in line with the 21st century warfighter. Fort Hood is committed to being a good neighbor to the Central Texas communities around us. Fort Hood generates approximately $25 billion in economic activity in the Central Texas area. The installation occupies both Bell and Coryell counties and is 60 miles north of Austin and 50 miles south of Waco, and is located just west of the I-35 corridor between Dallas and San Antonio. We proudly partner with 7 local surrounding communities and extended neighboring communities. The troops and families of Fort Hood are truly integrated into the Central Texas landscape. Since World War I, 3 Corps has served the nation in peace and in war. Currently, 3 Corps is leading the Army in mounted warfare expertise, forging warriors and leaders into combat-ready units to answer the nation's call whenever it comes. While we ensure we are ready to close with and destroy the enemies of our nation, we simultaneously strive to continually improve the quality of life for our soldiers and families, and maintain our good relations with our community neighbors. 3 Corps and Fort Hood are always doing our best to ensure we earn our nickname, The Great Place. Phantom Warriors, Army Strong.